Police say the arrest of a man wanted in connection with the rape and murder of Amantle Samane was a collaborative effort with Soweto residents. The 6-year-old's body was found not far from her home in Orlando East on Monday. Newzroom Afrika's Madlala sets the scene for the conversation we're about to have.
Amantle Samane's family is calling for justice.
We are going to the bail. Ask I told. I want to a life sentence. Nkataba. The thing one I can never accept like him one.
I'm a police squatter says to do more. Si do le mo se ska ba sa twa se motho a o ka dula le batho yo. Ha se motho o ka dula le batho. A dule gona mo dipelo sa rena di botlhoko.
The murdered girl's mother, Mthombeni Samane, has described the moment she saw the 6-year-old's body.
Ngabona ukuthi aka respond. Ngambizwa amandla akangibheki amandla akangiphendula. Then ngambheka. Mangimbheka ngathola ukuthi lo muntu lo umkhamile. Mama akhe la entameni. Kulapho ngiyabona khona ukuthi she's no more. Bekubhlungu kimi. Bekubhlungu kimi because umthana mina ngicene adlala.
The suspect was apprehended in Zola, barely 20 kilometers away from Amantle's home.
For now, we are charging him with murder and rape. So other charges might be added pending the investigation. This was a collaboration between the police and the community. So we like to thank the community for coming forth. So this it's evidence enough that coming together we can squeeze the space for the criminals.
Residents also confronted a person they believed concealed information about the whereabouts of the suspect.
You need to apologize to this whole community and say which uyaxolile.
This guy,
The suspect is expected to appear in the Protea Magistrates Court on Friday. Meanwhile, the community says it will continue to support the family. For Newzroom Afrika on Channel 405, I am Madlala in Soweto, Orlando East.
Well, the Gauteng Police Commissioner, Mthombeni, joining us in studio for more on the arrest of this suspect. Lieutenant General, good evening to you and thank you very much for your time. Firstly, congratulations on arresting this person within the 72-hour time period, I would think, unless, of course, you're going to tell me different. Let's just start with the time of arrest or during this individual's arrest. Did he attempt to run? Did he put up a fight? Or was he expecting this?
Good evening, Koli, and greetings to the viewers at home. We're saying heartfelt condolences to the family of the 6-year-old. The team we activated, it is based on immediately when the crime is committed, we activated the team. The issue of 72 hours, I think we're having that, but it's something which one can not say 72 hours because when 72 hours lapse and then you'll get these questions to say, now 72 hours, so what is happening? Why the police are not cracking it up? In terms of saying that whether we got some resistance, we did not because we put our team together, including the crime intelligence and the detectives, but the team was led, of course, by the station commander. And we positioned ourselves to such extent that we have to be prepared for anything, but we did not have some sort of a resistance from the suspect. And of course, the question which I was asked, the entire day, it was to say where, and you indicated clearly to say it was in Zola. Meanwhile, originally, he was in Orlando, renting, yes.
Has he been questioned in relation to the crime? Does he admit to it, or is that going to await court processes?
Well, the process flow in terms of when we arrest, people, there is the warning statement which we take from the suspected person, of which that particular person, when he or she provide the statement, is willingly. And in most cases, you'll find that people will say, I will speak in court. So you can't really, forced to say you have to speak now. So on that basis, our detective teams, I think they were in a position to can deal with the necessary evidence. For example, the witnesses. We had a witness statement which collaborate in terms of saying that they've seen this particular person on certain time. But what is a worrying factor is that most of our community members, those who are having the place or residential areas, they are renting these people who are illegal. So because this one, he is illegal so in South Africa, though the passport reflect 2027 validity. But me and we know that when you enter into the other country, when you enter into that border, when they stamp your passport, you can't be there forever. Yeah. So he entered here in 2022, in April 11. Then he went back to the country. Then the very same year later, and then he came back. He has since not returned to his country. So surely, as confirmed by Department of Home Affairs, he is illegal in the country.
Commissioner, is there a clear message this evening to landlords who are giving rental space to people who are illegal in the country, never mind possible criminal activity that they may be up to? So I'm asking you this question because the understanding tonight is that 2 landlords who were renting space or renting out a room to this individual are now the subject of an investigation.
Yeah, the message is clear, and then the laws in this country are clear in terms of when you are having a residence and you ultimately allow, illegal immigrants and then to stay in there, you are harboring that those particular individuals or the individuals. But further than that, we oftentimes get the businesses where these businesses that are owned by South Africans, and you find that they have employed the illegal immigrant. So on the same breath, that goes to those people. So the message is quite clear, but this is sort of collaborations with the sister department. As we know that Home Affairs, we work closely together week in, week out in terms of the operational activities, Operation Shanyela.
I think, Commissioner, I need to crystallize my question because people have to understand the implications of their actions. And we're still on the landlords. If they are convicted, these 2 landlords who were giving a rental room to this individual, how many years in jail would they possibly face for harboring not only an illegal foreigner, but someone who is now a murderer?
Well, Koli, the outcome of the court with ultimately the number of years will depend on the jury who will be presiding over the matter. Is something which I cannot confirm now on this interview to say exactly, how many years. But of course, if you appear in before the jury, they find that you explicitly harbored the foreign national, you'll have to bear the consequences. And we are warning the South Africans to say they must be careful. And they must not look on the passport, on the face value of the passport to say this passport is valid, this passport is issued, for example, maybe from 2022 to 2027. We have to look on the issue of entry into our country where a specific number of days people are allowed to be in the country. And that itself is quite clear. And the South Africans has to understand this.
General, you're going to have to indulge me on this next question because this is the difficult part for this grieving family. It's not the first time that an illegal foreigner in South Africa has committed despicable crimes against South Africans. I'll take you back to March of last year. A Zimbabwean national, Themba Dube, was handed 8 life sentences for murder, rape, and contravening the Immigration Act for being in the country illegally. But this was not in your jurisdiction, this was in Limpopo. But here's how it relates to what has happened in your own backyard. Amantle's mother today was interviewed on this channel, and she says the South African police has failed to protect her child against a monster who was roaming the streets of Soweto without any worry that he could ever possibly be arrested just for being in the country illegally. How do you respond to a grieving mother who says that?
Well, Koli, we had to understand that we are pleading with the community to work closely with the police. As I was in the studio, and then I clearly outlined what the cabinet have approved, what we call, the whole government approach, where we have 6 pillars. Amongst the pillars is the community involvement. We know for the fact that the police cannot be everywhere. But I can clearly indicate to you the law enforcement agency, including Department of Home Affairs, we are really hard at work for these people who are illegally so in the country. Week in, week out, we are arresting quite a number of people. But we need the community to help us, as I've indicated, this harboring of the illegal immigrants. It is the South Africans, those who are doing that. I can clearly indicate to you that for the past 6 months, from April up until September, I'll give you one classical example. We're having Operation Valumgoti, which is linked to illegal mining. In that space, we arrested 4,796 people. 4,796 people. Out of that number, for 6 months period, 3,657 is illegal immigrants. So when we are in that space, we are operating, surely we are making a difference in ensuring that the communities are and they feel safe. So under that score, we really understand the grieving of the family of which they are concerned, but we are saying also the community, they have to assist us. If it was not the person who is having these residents, who ultimately harbor these individuals, maybe we're not supposed to be there, because clearly the landlord have been collecting rent from these particular individuals for a period which is not known. It's only the landlord knows to say from this time to that time, this particular individual was renting I would say the room in that particular space.
Just out of interest, Lieutenant General, was it the landlord that led you, that alerted you to say, this person that the police are looking for is here, please come to my property? Or was it someone unrelated to the landlord?
No, it's someone unrelated to the landlord. You must take note that, as I've indicated, that the team we put also crime intelligence. And of course, the community, as and when, because his pictures, it was flooding, the media space. Some of the people, they are out of a concern. they will at least link up with the police, and we have been assisted through our crime intelligence in ensuring that we get this suspect behind
So that's
us.
how you found him.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, I suppose it goes without saying that that landlord simply did not help the police, and so they have to understand that they are in deep trouble tonight. Let's talk about the Safer Festive Season campaign, because I think there is a link here, General. I don't know if you'll agree. There's a link here between communities being on the lookout and making sure that they report suspicious activity. We're going into the festive season. You are probably going to be very busy as well. As we approach this festive season, what's your message to parents of young children who will be out of school? It's school holidays. And the question simply is, are Gauteng's streets safe for children to play?
Thank you very much once more, Toli. As the law enforcement agency, we are putting that guarantee to say we will ensure that we put the resident first in terms of the safety for this festive season. We know for the fact that as Gauteng, despite the fact that we have in the festive season, week in, week out, we are out there on the ground. This includes Saturday up until Sunday morning.
Yes.
So clearly, we will be in a position to can make sure that the citizens they are safe out there. I'm saying this without any, maybe stammering or whatever the case might be, because the plan which we have put together with the community, for example, we had the former MEC for Community Safety, Memphis Malzobuk, with collaborations in terms of one of the pillars. We have in the community in blue, of which the communities that are helping us, we're having over 9,000. We're having Siabangena community patrollers, we're having 500. We're having Gauteng traffic wardens, we're having over 6,000. Your Gauteng traffic police, we're having over 4,000. I can go on with the numbers.
Yeah.
Your Metro Police, we're having 3 Metro Police, of which recently we have just launched on the 10th, the cooperative agreement. With your metros, we're having over 10,000.
All right.
So the sense of seeing the police on the street is creating that sense of saying that we can see there's a safety. Oh. But on the other hand, the parents, they have a responsibility for parenting because you'll realize that, for example, in the areas like Westbury, the areas like El Rado Park, you'll find that those children, those who are 14 years, 15, they are the people who are, involved in the criminal activities.
14-year-olds?
Yeah, 14-year-old. We arrest quite often, a lot of them. So you ask yourself, where is the parenting?
Wow.
So we have to work closely together with the community. But for this festive season, we're putting more operational activities. As we know in Gauteng, we are forever ready and beyond the festive season.
You've also been raiding illegal Spaza shops, or perhaps let me put it gently, you have been raiding Spaza shops. I suppose the effort has to do with finding those that are operating illegally. How many have you shut down?
The issue of the Spaza shops, which have been an outcry in terms of the buying of the snacks, of which the snacks ultimately you find that it is alleged that is having these the problems of
possibly being contaminated.
Yeah, contaminated. It is also a collaborative effort. We have the department within the city, environmental health. The environmental health, we work with them closely.
Yeah.
There is a process which they follow in terms of the statutory law. They have to issue compliance notices where there is no compliance. But during that time, we also focus whether these people who are trading, are they illegal in South Africa or not illegal. For example, in Naledi, in one of the operations, we arrested not less than 12 illegal immigrants within that space. So you'll find that oftentimes we are collaborating with the environmental health. But over and above that, we also having a working close relationship with the schools itself.
Yeah.
For example, for these 6 months, we had 344 school searches, drug awareness, the school safety campaign within the province. We had 136 community outreach programs, which were targeting and ensure that with the imbizos, we sensitize the communities to say they have to take note.
Yeah.
So with these collaborations with the environmental health, we are in a position to can make inroads in terms of these Spaza shops.
Okay.
In terms of closure, the Department of Environmental Health, where there is a closure, they will indicate to say, in this case, we are shutting down. And in terms of these groceries, and then they have to take the groceries into a specific storage.
Okay, so at this stage, General, you are unable to tell me exactly how many Spaza shops were shut down, because what you were focused on was arresting people who are illegal in the country. But as far as the closure of Spaza shops, it's the Environmental Health Department that I suppose works in collaboration with you, which will say this operation is illegal, shut it down. Is that the sentiment from you tonight? That
yeah, I'll say
you're
that
unable to give exact numbers of Spaza shops that have been shut down.
I'll say that is the sentiment, because you must just take note in terms of the whole government approach. Though I know whatever it is happening in South Africa, people who are in front in terms of creating the safety of the community is the South African Police Service. But in terms of this concept of the whole government approach, we have to take note that government departments, the communities, they have to assist in ensuring that we make our country safe. We make sure that at the end of the day, in terms of whatever is happening, the specific department, if they lead, they have to lead into that process.
2 quick questions before we close the conversation, General. Describe the relationship between locals and foreign nationals in Gauteng's townships. How would you describe that relationship? Does it worry you, given what is happening right now?
Yeah, I will say currently what is happening, it's a worrying factor. We have deployed our crime intelligence in ensuring that they have to be on the ground relating to more especially this issue of the Spaza shops. But the other thing is that as a chair of a provincial joint intelligence structure, I have issued the directives which clearly indicates as to say, let's look on the issue of this Spaza shop in an instances where it is clearly that there's non-compliance. The lead department, together with the law enforcement, has to be in that space and ensure that we do what we're supposed to be doing. So on that score, in terms of that provincial intelligence structure instruction, we have forwarded it to the entire role players, those who take part within the provincial intelligence structure.
Okay.
So we are in a position to can do that collaboration moving forward.
Here's a final one. I spoke to the Minister of Health this week, and this was at the time of the deployment of these 80 inspectors. And he said something very worrying, that this Spaza shop situation is viewed through a prism that says this could pose a national security threat. What is the basis for that statement by the minister?
You are putting me on the spot, truly speaking, because the minister put this comment. Now I must comment on the minister's comments. I should think where, like now, currently what is happening, because it's not necessarily the Spaza shop which makes these children to be affected in terms of the food which is contaminated. I'll give you a classical example. There was a full view coverage last week, Thursday, in Bronkhorstspruit.
Yeah.
In that space, the children, they went to these people who are selling food, on the entrance of the gate. And allegedly they bought some snacks in there. And you have over 20 children, those who were affected, and then they were rushed to the hospital. And in Ekurhuleni, I think a few days back, we had also similar incident, not necessarily from Spaza shop.
Yeah.
We have there by the gate, we had, I think, approximately 19 children. So you could see in that way, it's not necessarily only the Spaza shop. But what is a worrying factor is that after these children, they were admitted, the community, they took up the street, then they target there foreign national shops. And that was not direct linked. So when you say it's the security threat, as I chair the provincial joint intelligence structure within the province, and I'm having a seat at national joint intelligence structure. Yeah. Those are the issues which we are looking as a country in ensuring that we have to create a stability. But to create that stability, this concept of the whole government approach is what we have to employ. And there are directives which are given within that structure of the provincial intelligence structure to the respective departments, because we're having the priority committees. We're having the priority committee which relate to the issues of health. We're having a priority committee which relate to the issues of taxi violence, for example. So that itself, we are in a position to can make a sense and how do we deal with the security threat within the country.
I'm going to rush you because that was the final question, but your response now is telling. As part of the intelligence community, are you worried of a potential threat to national security?
As the person who is on the forefront and day in, day out, during the night, I would say we are out there and we are up to the task to can deal with the issues of security outbreak if there's any. We got the plans which we implement.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Commissioner?
Yes.
Is there a plausible threat to national security in the country?
I would say at this stage, no, because that one, it has to be told or it has to be related by our crime intelligence. At this stage, we don't have such on our table.
Lieutenant General Mthombeni, thank you very much for your time, and I appreciate your candid approach to this. Thanks indeed for your time, and once again, congratulations on this arrest.